Hello everyone, this is Sergei from Ushanka Show, and this is another unboxing video. Recently I got a present from Australia, out of all places, which is already super cool. And I would like to thank my viewer, subscriber Kyle, who was so generous to send books and some other presents all the way from there. He asked in the comments under one of my videos if I would like to get some books about Trotsky and some other ones, and of course I can't say no, especially to the books I never read before. So anyway, then it was some surprises there too, so let's take a look what we got. So first of all, there were some stamps, and towards the end of this video I'll have them all spread out. They're from 1960s mostly, some 70s. Some stamps I recognize, like this one. I remember that from my childhood. So there was 2 packets of stamps, Soviet era stamps. There's a lot of them from 60s I never seen before. So that was really cool. Thank you so much. And I said in the end of this video I'll spread them around. And then we got Life and Death of Leon Trotsky. Leon Trotsky, written by one of his close friends, Viktor Serge, and then his wife, Natalia Sedova Trotsky. I have several books by Trotsky. I thought I have his own book, My Life, but I was looking for it on my bookshelf and I just can't find it. And I know when I'm done with this video probably I will see it, but I'll show you what I have. And Viktor Serge then died under suspicious circumstances, so the story of Trotsky, I still need to make a video about him, but that's pretty fascinating. Fascinating because he was totally removed from the Soviet history. Like, they never mention his word, anything about him. Like, no pictures were even, there was a Soviet Photoshop. There's one of the famous photos of Lenin having a speech, surrounded by soldiers in, I assume, in Petrograd. And it was Trotsky leaning against the structure waiting for his turn. And he was photoshopped, he was erased. At that time, of course, there was no Photoshop, but he was erased. And that photo was reprinted just with Lenin. So that's how bad Stalin and later government of Soviet Union wanted to erase his memory. Although he still stayed in the Soviet memories. We had actually jokes about Lenin calling Leon Trotsky political prostitute. Then another one was saying that he's bullshitting. If somebody is lying, there was a standard expression, "Oh, you're bullshitting just like Trotsky." So it made me wonder, maybe those kind of like jokes were inserted by KGB just to kind of keep this negative sentiment about Trotsky, because he was removed, like I said, from history books, from everything, but still people knew about him and had jokes about him, that he's a political prostitute or he's just bullshitting like Trotsky. And this is a book I have by Leon Trotsky called The Stalin School of Falsification. That was published in the 90s during when the Perestroika time started, and as basically he published his archive and he showed how everything was changed. So yeah, original was published in Germany. It looks like there's a copyrights, alle Rechte, whatever. So yeah, it was published in Berlin and then translated to different languages, and it came back. I wonder when it was published. I need to look. Anyway, I'll check, but see what it says here. 200,000. Where's the date? It was expensive, 10 rubles, so that's towards the end definitely. It's maybe 19. I need to find a date, but price is already high, 10 rubles, so that's probably 1991. Maybe even later, 92 or 93, then ruble lost its value, because paying 10 rubles per book during the Soviet days, that would be insane. So this is what I've got, Stalin School of Falsification. And this is the second book that Kyle sent me. The Petrovs, Empire of Fear. So it's a couple, both of them work for MGB, which is NKVD was, name was changed from NKVD to MGB, then later was KGB. So they were both officers, and they escaped Soviet embassy in Australia in 1950s and wrote this book, Empire of Fear. So that's like their personal account growing up in the Soviet Union. So I'm super excited. I really like books, like personal accounts, Sure, people who did a lot of research, went through archives, it's cool. But personal accounts, that's I think the most interesting, the most amazing part of the studying about Soviet Union, because these guys experienced, and it's not what you find in archives, the stories. So anyway, so this is another one really cool book, Petrov's Empire of Fear. And now let's go take a look at now it's my stamps, but the stamps that Kyle sent to me. So this is the first batch of stamps that I got from Australia, and to think about it, I received, this is about 100 stamps in this first package. Soviet stamps came to United States, to Michigan from Australia. So anyway, thank you, Kyle, again, but it's kind of also cool that I recognize some of the stamps. This stamp always baffled me. So this is this kind of like a silvery background stamp. So it's from Tretyakovka Gallery in Moscow, one of their most famous art. And of course this, I think it's called Red Horse. I found always as a kid quite disturbing. There's a naked dude riding the horse, and in Soviet Union, kind of this type of art was more popular. War, this is definitely civil war in Soviet Russia. But anyway, a lot of classic Soviet stamps, different people, some of them from Russian history, so like Lermontov, Pushkin, then you got Maxim Gorky, Fedorov, the first Первопечатник, so he's the first one who printed books in Russian language, I believe. You might recognize this guy, Mahatma Gandhi. And then, of course, Soviet icebreakers. There's an entire series of the icebreakers. I need to get those once again more. Soviet, I'd say leaders, but just kind of like a prominent people. I kind of put aside some, KGB, 50 years of VCK, KGB. Of course, a lot of Stalin stamps. Just 3 flora fauna. I had those in my collection, of course. I wanted to collect, I think, something different, but in order to have exchange available, I decided to collect animals so I can exchange with other friends. Quite a few Soviet space exploration, those are fun. Some of them I never seen before. That's from 60s and 70s. A lot of them from 60s, the very first space flights, like 3 people space flights. I don't remember seeing those stamps at all, so that's kind of cool. Moon landing, Soviet moon landing. By the way, I work at the company, Research Institute Saturn Kyiv. They actually developed, so this little moon rover had antenna, and amplifier came from the company I used to work for. That was the rumor. A couple of cool stamps in regards to Soviet science fiction. So that's called space science fiction on the moon. And there was another one somewhere. So anyway, really cool stamps. Thank you so much. I'll get them in. There's, I think, another one. Yep. So yeah, I didn't realize how many stamps we made about space exploration. 1971, first tracks on the moon. And also a couple of cool trains too. The very first passenger train between Petersburg and Moscow. And here's the second batch of stamps, also probably about 100. I didn't count them, but this is a pretty wild mixture, so thank you so much. We have some. That's a Ukrainian People Republic Trident overprint, so they used Tsar Russia stamps, and they just put there Trident before. So this is about Putin talking that it's Comrade Lenin who created Ukraine. As you see, Ukraine existed before that. In 1918, they announced Ukrainian People's Republic, UNR. Some more stamps for the space-related topics. I love those always, and it's all 1960s. So that's pretty neat. Luna 10 from 1966. There's also some Nicholas II stamps. This is really cool. Check this. Well, this one's I even don't know what this is. That's probably already Soviet Russia. 40 rubles, and then it's overprint for 10,000 rubles. I need to look it up. What is that? It's pretty interesting. But check this out. "10 years Soviet exploration in Antarctica, 1966. So that's like a 3-piece stamp. Some stamps related to geology, Soviet geology. A lot of national costumes, series. Yep, so I didn't realize how many stamps Soviet Union printed. There's a lot of celebration. German Democratic Republic, Bulgaria, they all got created in about the same year, right? Probably 1945, 1946. So now in 1960s, they celebrate 20 years since creating all the republics. They used to be independent countries before World War II. More ships, famous Aurora. I think this submarine had a really bad story. Komsomol, Leninsky Komsomol, nuclear submarine. More ships. So yeah, amazing selection. Thank you so much. Gotta sort it out, put in my stamp album. Youth Against Colonialism. These ones are pretty cool too. Different cool locations, maps. It's a discovery. Really neat. Thank you so much. Okay, my friends, I hope you enjoyed this video. I have a separate playlist where I do unboxing of presents I got from my viewers. So once again, thank you so much, Kyle. I greatly appreciate it. I will sort out the stamps. Some of them looks like worth to make stories about because that's from 60s, from Nikita Khrushchev era. So anyway, thank you so much for watching Ushanka Show. Once again, thank you so much, Kyle. And we'll talk to you soon. До побачення. Goodbye.